Hey everyone, Richard here, and welcome to a video that is really a long time in the making. This is my collection highlight for Amazing Spider-Man 50 through 100. I'm not positive yet, but it's probably going to be a two-part video, so see this is part one, that's why. But I figured before we got into that, I'd explain why Spider-Man. This right here is the first comic book I can remember ever owning. I know my dad gave it to me. And I eventually collected all this Todd McFarlane Spider-Man run. But I never actually read any of these books. I always just looked at the pictures. It actually took a really long time before I ever read Spider-Man. Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends, the cartoon, that was my Spider-Man. That was my childhood. That's what I loved. But the first Spider-Man I ever read was actually this Spider-Man, Ultimate Spider-Man. This was my sort of reading introduction into the character. I think I read the whole series, if not all of it, most of it. But this is actually the only one from the original run that I still have. I got rid of the rest a long time ago. And this one was actually a stealth find I had at one point. This is in my original copy. I'm not even sure I had the original. I think I might have had a KB Toys reprint. It was a long time ago. But that sort of begs the question, why am I going after the original Amazing Spider-Man? And I think that's has to do with what my background is. I mentioned in a semi-recent video that I'm an archaeologist. I have a thing for tangible history, stuff that you can hold and look at. And that's what this collection, this series is for me. This is the meat and potatoes of Spider-Man. This is where he began and all his journeys. So that's kind of why I collect it. I have sort of quirks with my collecting. A lot of the time I look for date stamps. Mainly because for me as an archaeologist, it shows behavior of the previous people who owned it. Be it the shop owner or what have you. I actually don't even mind writing on covers as long as it's not defacing it. I like subscription creases. Anything that really shows the history of the book. I don't necessarily like super pristine books because those are books that never really got handled or looked at or read or loved. So yeah. But let's just get into it. This is Amazing Spider-Man number 50. I'm sure you all recognize this. Probably the most iconic book in this 50 through 100 run. This is the first appearance of Kingpin, and this is in 1967. This run goes from 1967 up to 1972, I believe. Just super iconic cover. Not much more you could say about that. Definitely one to look for. One of the bigger keys in this series for sure. Next up, Amazing Spider-Man number 51. We got another date stamp right here from May of 1967. This is the second appearance of Kingpin, but this is the first fight between Spider-Man and Kingpin. It's also the first cameo appearance of Robbie Robertson, who is arguably the first true supporting character for Spider-Man. That isn't a love interest or something of that sort. Robbie Robertson actually made an appearance in the first Sam Raimi Spider-Man movie. Someone who worked at the Daily Bugle with Spider-Man and J. Jonah Jameson and all of them. Not a huge character, but still one to get a little recognition. Here's 52. This is one that I need to upgrade at some point, but it's complete, and that's really all that matters to me. This is the first full appearance of Robbie Robertson. Again, minor key, but still something that should be noted and looked out for. Yeah, just a great, great cover. I love covers that have a lot of water on them for some reason. I'm not quite sure why, but yeah. '53. This one's still from 1967. Nothing huge of note about this issue, just a great, great Doc Ock cover. '54. Again, another Doc Ock cover. Again, this is not a huge book by any means. It's just one in the run. 55. Again, this is one I might try to upgrade at some point, just because I think it's such an iconic cover. It's a really great cover. You see Spider-Man and Doc Ock's Spider-Man's reflection in Doc Ock's glasses. Yeah, this is also the last book in 1967. Amazing Spider-Man 56. This is the first book of 1968. And this is the first appearance of George Stacy, Gwen Stacy's father, and captain of the police force. Kind of an important character. You probably remember him from the Amazing Spider-Man movie and a number of other things. Amazing Spider-Man number 57. Like his R appearance. It's also the first time Don Heck aided John Romita Sr. on pencils. Just another great cover. '58. Again, not a major book or anything, but just a really great cover. Yeah. Amazing Spider-Man number 59. Probably one of my favorite covers in the whole run. First cover appearance of Mary Jane. I kind of love the idea that she's just dancing, having fun, while Spider-Man's on the other side of the curtain doing his thing. 60. Another early appearance of Kingpin, and a great black cover. Yeah. Number 61. First cover appearance of Gwen Stacy. Kind of funny that Gwen Stacy has a later first cover appearance of Mary Jane, considering who showed up first. This is actually probably the highest grade copy I have in my collection. Probably pretty easily in the 9 range. And I love the yellow cover. '62. Just a great Medusa cover. Nothing special about it. The two meet up and fight and then team up like you see just about every superhero. It's a shame these two never really interact much again, but still a really, really cool cover. Number 63. This one's kind of notable because this is where Adrian Toomes returns as a Vulture. It's also his like 4th or 5th appearance, depending on who you ask. Just a great black cover too. '64, just another great Vulture cover. '65. I think I've shown this one as one of my favorite covers before. It's not really a notable book, but still really, really great cover. I know I've shown this one in my top covers before. Amazing Spider-Man 66. Not a major book by any means, but it is the first time John Romita Sr. drew Mysterio, and it's just a really great introduction to his Mysterio. Amazing Spider-Man 67. This is the second part of that Mysterio story. But one sort of important thing about this book that I don't think a lot of people ever really mention is his first appearance of Randy Robertson. Randy Robertson was part of the first interracial married couple in Marvel, but he's also kind of a big deal for the transition from the Silver to the Bronze Age, because he was often used as a tool to depict student protests and activism and things like that. You'll hear about him more throughout this run, but he's kind of important, even though he was more or less just a tool for Marvel. This is the first issue of 1969, Amazing Spider-Man 68. This is more Randy Robertson storyline stuff. I believe he's actually depicted on the cover, but I don't remember who he is offhand. I want to say it's him, but I could be wrong. But still, very great cover. Amazing Spider-Man 69. Easily one of the best covers in the run. Just Kingpin showing his dominance. Nothing really notable about it besides that, just very cool cover. Amazing Spider-Man number 70. Just another great cover. I feel like this cover's been cover swiped before, or the concept of it, but it's not necessarily a big book by any means. No real notable appearances or anything. Amazing Spider-Man 71. Another one I'd like to upgrade at some point, but it is complete, and that's really all that matters for me. Great Quicksilver cover. Amazing Spider-Man number 72. This is the second appearance of the Shocker, 46 being his first appearance. But this is also the first John Buscema work on this series. Just a minor thing. It's not a big key or anything, but still. Very cool. Amazing Spider-Man 73, first appearance of Silvermane. Silvermane is kind of a sort of a gang leader. A minor key, but still a very cool one to have. Another one I need to upgrade at some point, but Amazing Spider-Man number 74. Nothing very notable about this, but it is the last 12-cent cover. So for those of you who care about that, that's what this is. And the last book I think I'm going to show in this video, we are going to do 2 parts, just because how long this is getting. Amazing Spider-Man number 75. Again, one of my favorite covers from this. This is the death of Silvermane, but he resurfaces later. Spoilers that are over, 30, 40 years old now. But yeah, so that's part 1. We'll get into part 2 here soon. But hope you enjoyed this first part. Take care.